Hello, my name is Hugh Bassham, and I'm a veterinarian in South Georgia. And I want to talk to you today about health. Health is a subject that's been on my mind all of my life, basically. My father was a veterinarian. I've grown up in veterinary medicine and always concerned about the health of animals. But over the years, I began to learn more and more about animals, worked with 6 or 8 different species. And as I learned and worked with them, I began to see things that somehow I had overlooked. And I wanted to be sure that I did not overlook anything, and specifically I began to look at nutrition. Now I know that nutrition is a subject that we all hear about, we've heard enough about it, and yet could we be overlooking something? And what I have found over the years was that the better the nutrition, the healthier the animals. Now I know that's not a profound statement, everybody knows that, and by the way, everything that I say today is basically geared towards people. Animals were the things in the animals that taught me things about health that I can apply to people. In the book of Job chapter 12 verse 7, it says we are to learn from the animals. So the things that I want to share with you now are things about health that I learned from the animals. I learned that the better you feed your animals, the healthier they are. And in turn, the better you feed and care for yourself, the healthier you are. I realize that's nothing profound. I realize everybody knows it. But somehow or other, we seem to say, yes, I know, and then we have set this aside and we have gone on about our business. And I think we have overlooked something that's really critical to our well-being. So that's what I want to talk about this morning. When I learned from the animals over my years of working with them, it occurred to me that these things can apply to people, and it occurred to me again and more clearly that I should share what I have learned. It's one thing to work and learn, it's another thing to share with people. So how do you share with the most people a subject of health that is so important? Well, in 1990, I decided that I should write a book. I didn't know anything about writing books, never written a book before. But I just woke up one morning, sat down with a pencil and paper in those days, and proceeded to write. And in 1993, my book was published. The title of the book is The Search for Total Health. And there's some key words in this short title. Of course, health, obviously. Search is another key word. In other words, I'm not going to tell you things this morning that answers all of your questions, because there's still a search going on. I'm searching, and what I want to do is encourage you to search as well. And then there's the word total. The word total is really the key to this message, because when we think of health, we think of our physical bodies, we look after ourselves and we exercise and we do all these things, but people are more than just a body. We're a mind and we have a spirit. So total health implies, and in reality is, the care and feeding, if you would, of the body and the mind and of the spirit. We have to look after all 3 areas of our body if we're going to be healthy. Not just the body, not even just the mind, and not even just the spirit, but all 3 areas. Now, so as I have learned these things, and I can't quite explain this, but this really got inside of me, and I felt a real urge, a real calling to just to do everything I could to share this with as many people as possible. So in the year 2001, I was invited to Europe, to Austria, to speak at the World Congress for Humanity in Medicine. And I saw this as an opportunity for me to share with people from around the world the message that I want to be sharing with you this morning. So the question was, well, how do I share this with people who, virtually everybody that went to this meeting, English was their second language. And furthermore, this presentation was given in English by me. It was translated by a translator, translated into German, and then, of course, the people could hear this. So I stood here, made a statement, the translator stood beside me and translated the statement, and back and forth and back and forth. Well, that was a new experience for me, and as I realized exactly how this meeting was going to be conducted and how I was going to be speaking and having my words translated, it occurred to me that out of courtesy, I should make my message just as simple as I could. Don't use a lot of big words, don't get real sophisticated with my presentation, in respect for the audience who was listening in a second language and going through the translation. In other words, I didn't want anything lost in the translation. I wanted it as simple and as clear as I could make it for the benefit of the people, so that I wouldn't fly a round trip of 10,000 miles and these people wouldn't fly from around the world to hear a message they couldn't really understand. So I'm making this lesson, this presentation, just as simple as I could to them, and therefore I want to make it simple for everybody that watches this. So the question was, well, how do I make this simple? How do I present my subject in a way that it can be understood by everybody? And so I began to think about this, and the idea came to me that I should tell these people a story. And I thought, a story? You know, here are these people from around the world, and I'm going to sit up and tell them a story. Actually, though, it's a parable. It's what I have called the parable of the three-legged stool. Now, a parable has been defined as a simple story with a deep meaning. So the parable that I'm going to share with you is a simple story, but it has a deep meaning to it. Now, you may have guessed that my subject of this book was total health. And so if we're talking about total health, and we realize that we as people are bodies, minds, and spirits, then you're getting ahead of me, I hope, and you're seeing that this message is about the parable of the three-legged stool. One leg is a body, one leg is a mind, and one leg is a spirit. Now, I told you this was simple. So I want to tell you now in the next few minutes the parable of the three-legged stool. Furthermore, beyond just telling you the parable, I want to show you the parable. I want to demonstrate the parable so that you can see it, and whoever watches this will be able to see it and really won't have any questions about it. I'll say it one more time. This is simple, but it has a profound meaning to it. So, I want to tell you now the parable of the three-legged stool. When we're born, we're like the base of a stool. You say, what? Doesn't look like a stool, doesn't even have any legs on it.